Now, after responding to many calls and a capture attempt, wildlife managers had to euthanize a blonde-colored black bear in the Story area just on July 4th. This bear received multiple food awards, including trash, bird feed, and more than one resident actually witnessed or captured on security camera footage the bear on their porch. And because it had repeatedly accessed attractants for many days, the decision was ultimately made to euthanize the animal rather than relocate it. And joining me this morning to talk about ways that we can keep bears away from our property and prevent a tragedy like this from happening or having to take place is Wyoming Game and Fish Public Information Specialist Christina Schmidt. Good morning, Christina. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good.
You got back from vacation. It had a good time.
Had a great time.
Good. Everyone tries to get it in before rodeo week. That's one thing that I've noticed. Everyone tries to get in the vacation before we all, locals get really busy around this time.
Very true.
Now, you and I have talked about preventing bears from finding attractants on people's property many times.
Sure.
It's something that you and I will probably continue to talk about every time the season comes around. Excuse me, you and I once had a conversation about it where you brought up attractants that I didn't even think about, things that are just even outside of my house, like a grill. Mm-hmm. And yeah, grills smell amazing. We all know that smell when we open up the top of our grill and we get that whiff. And bears can smell that for miles. I mean, it's amazing the power these things have in their nose, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they follow their nose. Like you and I have talked, they're always very hungry, always. They are always searching for calories. They're very smart. They're very strong, obviously, and they can move, great distances looking for food, and they do. So, it is, for those of us that live here in really pretty much all of Sheridan County, all of Johnson County, particularly along the foothills, is good bear habitat, and there will just always be bears in the area. I think people just, especially in the spring, just trying to get back into, okay, I can't leave my trash out, maybe like you did over the winter, or, when you go to set bird feeders out, things like that. I always try to look at it, anything that has a smell and might be worth investigating. For us, we think of food items as certain things, and trash might be an obvious one, right? Like all of the trash that comes out of our house. Sure, a bear would be attracted to that. But livestock feed, obviously that's not something we would find appealing. Cat food, a lot of people have barn cats or outside cats, put food out there for them. Not something we would find appealing. Very appealing for a bear. So it's really looking kind of critically around your property and what would potentially smell good and be worth investigating to a bear. So lots of different things. Bird feeders of all sorts. That's a high-calorie food, right? Seeds in bird seeds, suet, hummingbird feeders. All of that's really high-calorie, good stuff for a bear. And I understand people want to feed birds. There are ways to do it. There are ways to do it that it's just not going to be accessible to a bear. Hang the feeders high, at least 10 feet off the ground, 4 feet from the edge of a tree trunk or a pole or something like that. So you can set up a little pulley system so you can get it down, fill it, raise it back up, and it's out of the reach of bears. And you can still enjoy the birds, but you're not going to be attracting a bear and potentially providing a food reward. So there are things to do. Like you said, barbecue grills. That's when, just keep it in a garage or a shed or whatnot when you're not using it, or clean it really, really well after you're done using it so there's not little bits of meaty goodness left on the grill and that kind of thing. Trash, of course, is the big one. I think I've talked about when I was a kid, I grew up in a big city and I had a bike. I would never leave my bike out overnight, right? You just didn't.
Yeah,
a
if
neighbor
you wanted to
kid
keep
might
it,
take off with it. It might not be there in the morning. So, but we put our trash out. Not a big deal. Now things have flipped. Where I live, I keep my trash in the shed behind a locked door until the morning of trash pickup. Whereas I could leave my bike out for a month in my front yard and it would still be sitting there a month later. So, it's just about where you live. We live with bears. That's just part of it. We have bears in our communities that just live in the area and move through. And if they are not getting food rewards as they go, they're likely not going to stick around.
They won't consider your house like a hunting type of area.
Exactly,
or a feed area.
exactly. Again, as we've talked about in the past, there's, bears naturally want to avoid people. They're scared of people. However, if they start getting food rewards by being near people, the risk reward benefit shifts, right? It's not so risky to be around people because they're going to get some food. They're going to get some calories out of being close to people. So over time, they then come to see, be comfortable being around people, may seek out people thinking, oh, there's food nearby. So, it just changes their behavior. It changes what they would naturally be doing, which is avoiding people to being comfortable around people, and then that creates a safety concern. So.
And bears are omnivores.
Correct.
They'll eat meat, they'll eat seeds, they'll eat plants. There's all kinds of things that these...
Yeah.
I mean, they're really opportunists. And I dare say a bit of scavengers as well. If something's left out, if something is around, that's one of their jobs out in the forest, is to help keep it clean. And so to think about that, when we think of, even living out in the country, during certain seasons, you threw maybe a fur or something off. Well, that's an attractant as well. I mean, everything that smells good or is a food will attract a bear. And so you just got to keep that in mind as you walk around your property. Can it be eaten? Well, a bear is going to eat it. And if it's there each time they return, you're essentially training the bear. This is where you come to eat. And then you're also, if the bear sees you, that's association. Human, food. There's going to be food around this animal that I'm seeing out in the middle of the forest. And so they're going to follow you home. And it's just a slow process. And eventually, even through relocation, some of these bears have already made that association. And so they start to look for that easy opportunity around a human being. So they start to actually seek us out. And once they get us found, then it's all over, and the bear has to be euthanized, which is really unfortunate.
It is an awful thing. It is the worst thing. Employees hate doing this. It's a terrible thing. It really is just awful. So there are good ways to avoid. I mean, and we're not certainly the only place that did. All over the country in places where bears live. There are sometimes conflicts with bears and people, but we know that there are things that people can do to lessen these conflicts, prevent these conflicts. Relocation is the preferred option if we can do it. No one wants to kill a bear, so. Anytime there's a call, a warden or biologist responds. They go, they visit with people, try to get information, what's been going on, visit with neighbors, have they had problems? The best situation is if someone has a problem, call us right away. If we can respond, potentially trap, relocate that bear before the behavior has become what we call food condition, where they are, again, that process of being more and more comfortable around people. If we can, get that bear, try and relocate it, get it on natural food again, that's a success. But it's definitely more successful if we can get to it early and nip the problem in the bud, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if that's why we encourage people. If you have a bear, you think you have a bear in the area that has gotten into something, obviously, first thing, secure everything that might be an attractant. Visit with your neighbors, ask them to secure their attractants if anything's out. It really is something that everyone needs to be involved in. And then give us a call right away.
Yeah, first sign. I mean,
Yep.
I think I would call the very first sign I walked out there. Number one, I don't want a bear on the property. A lot of these individuals up here have animals of some sort, and you don't need a bear. I'm getting into that. And just by walking around talking to your neighbors, they're going to probably say the same thing. Yeah, I've seen it or whatever. So the sooner the better. That way the conditioning doesn't take, like you said. And then after that, hopefully, once it gets relocated, you can just get back into the natural process of doing things. And it's one of those situations we have to deal with because we chose to live in this beautiful area. And it's just part of life here, dealing with predators. Now, you guys held a couple classes about dealing with predators, living in predator area. Were those well attended this year?
Yeah, so actually I was on vacation and I missed them, but I was told that yes, we definitely had people attend. So there was one in Story and one in Dayton. We had one not last year, but the year before in Sheridan and Story, and those were very well attended. And, it's just a great opportunity. We work very hard to educate people, like you said. There's quite a few folks who are new to our community who may not be aware.
Right, moved up here.
There's bears here, and what should I do? So, we try to offer these, every other year or so, and we have for many years. These have been going on for many years, and they're called Living in Barren Lion Country Workshops. And basically, we present information and then answer people's questions. Hey, what should I do in an encounter? Or, how can I secure things? One new thing that we've added in the past few years to these workshops is how to secure backyard domestics. People keeping backyard chickens, keeping backyard beehives, small goats, things like that, which is great. But you then have to keep in mind, so potentially those animals, certainly a beehive, potentially those animals then are going to be an attractant for a bear. And all the food, again, poultry feed. Not something we would eat, but it's something a bear would very definitely find attractive. So, what are some ways, electric fencing is very effective in protecting things like that, beehives and again, your backyard domestics. So we try to provide a lot of information for folks, allow them to ask questions, say, here's what I've got at my place, how can I do this? And for folks who missed it, we have a great website, Bearwise, on our website. There's another one called bearwise.org. And those two places offer lots and lots of information, not just living in bear country, but also for our visitors that come here, folks who may be camping, hiking up in the Bighorns. There's information on, hey, if you're going to be camping or hiking or fishing or hunting in bear country, here's some things that you can do to prevent conflict. So there is a tremendous amount of information out there, really good information. And we know these things work when people do, when everyone's doing things right and securing attractants, thinking about what might bring a bear in, and getting all that secured. It really does work.
And they've got products out there that you can take camping with you that help prevent bears from getting into your stuff. My wife and I went camping this summer, and I didn't even think about it till we got out there. But our location was black bear country. So I thought, man, that would not be the best of mornings to walk out and find a bear eating the bacon that I planned on eating the night before. So we just kept everything in the trunk of the car.
Yeah,
and I know
absolutely.
that seems, and the walk to the campsite was a bit of a hike. So it was kind of inconvenient. So I thought, you know what, this next year, I got to figure out how the heck I'm going to store our food when we go camping so I don't have to make this hike every single time we want a snack. And there are products and there's websites out there, Bearwise. And all you got to do is just jump on the Wyoming Game and Fish Department website and you can find that. Euthanizing is an absolute last resort. It's not something that anybody likes to do. We are technically in their territory and not vice versa. So now let's switch subjects on here real quick and let's talk about some leftover licenses. There's still some hunting licenses out there that we can get a hold of.
Yeah, they went on sale this morning at 8 a.m.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so like most folks know, we have, at least for residents, non-residents is a different system, but for residents, we had, January through May was the application period. They had the first draw mid-June. There were some left over. They do a second draw. People can apply for those. They did a second draw. So where we're at now is general tags go on sale today, as well as anything that was left over from those first two draws. You can purchase those online or at our office or any licensed selling agent. You can actually get online and see what's available by species, what's left over, statewide. One thing I know for sure is there are no pronghorn licenses, antelope licenses left anywhere in the state.
Not getting a prairie goat this year if you don't have your
so
license.
If you did not get one, there are no leftovers, so there are no antelope licenses left over. There are some in our region, cow, calf, elk, doe, fawn, deer licenses. The only thing we do caution folks on is a lot of these that end up in the leftover are in areas that have certain restrictions, either, geographic restrictions like, only, in this portion of the hunt area, or some are valid only on private land. So what we caution folks is make sure you have somewhere lined up to hunt. If it's a private land only restriction on that license, make sure you have somewhere to go before you buy the license, rather than buy the license and try to go find somewhere. So, for folks who live around here, you may know someone who would let you hunt, that kind of thing. Then for sure, do a little investigating, make sure you get that access secured before you purchase the license. And those are updated in real time, so you can get on and see, there's 234 or there's 186 or whatever. So it's really helpful. But if you go online and click on the apply or buy tab, it'll take you right to it and you can check quota.
And this is probably one of the last opportunities that we'll have this year to get a license. Am I correct?
Well, so the leftovers, like I said, the leftovers, there's a quota and there's so many that are left, and when those are gone, they're gone. But there are also some areas of the state where you can pick up a general license, and those will be available, through the rest of hunting season.
Okay, and then to get those, just head on down to your local game and fish office and
Yep,
pick
you can
them up
go to
right
the
there.
game and fish office. Like I said, you can do these online. You can go to a licensed selling agent as well. So lots of places to pick them up for sure.
All right, when we return, we're going to continue with our Wyoming Game and Fish Department. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM, Sheridan.
At Eliason Financial, money management isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about dreams and opportunities, and more importantly, family. We'll take time to get to know you. Then we'll develop a unique wealth management plan that works hard, just like you. To learn more about who we are and what our wealth management advisors can do for you, visit Eliason Financial online or call 307-672-3010. Securities offered through Royal Alliance Associates, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Hi, this is Chuck Holloway. I recently retired from the Sheridan College Ag Department after 28 years. With nearly 3 decades in the classroom, the students you remember truly did stand out. Brandon Masters is definitely in that category. He was a dedicated and thoughtful student. These qualities have carried Brandon up through the ranks of law enforcement as well as in the Wyoming National Guard. That's why I'm supporting Brandon Masters for Sheridan County Sheriff.
Paid for by Brandon Masters for Sheriff.
Okay, it's Wednesday, July 13th, and this WYO Rodeo Daily Update is brought to you by Wyoming Corporate Office, providing premier registered agent services, mail forwarding, and virtual office space. It's Kids Night at the 91st year of the WYO Rodeo's PRCA Rodeo Performance. From bucking broncs to bull riding to rodeo clowns, tonight they kick off 4 nights of PRCA rodeo action. The pre-rodeo entertainment starts at 6:30 p.m. The World Championship Indian Relay Races will have you on your feet cheering for your favorite at 7 p.m., followed by the 91st year of the WYO Rodeo itself. Parking is available at the fairgrounds property and on the adjacent streets. Free remote parking available at the Sheridan High School parking lot with complimentary trolley service to the fairgrounds. And this WYO Rodeo Daily Update is brought to you by Wyoming Corporate Office, providing premier registered agent services, mail forwarding, and virtual office space.
McDonald's restaurants in Sheridan and Buffalo are currently looking to fill part-time and full-time positions. The benefits include pay of up to $15 per hour, and even better, you can work today and get paid tomorrow. Benefits include health insurance, paid vacation, tuition assistance, flexible scheduling, food discounts, and more. If part-time works better, there are a variety of part-time positions that are extremely flexible. Apply today in person. McDonald's in Sheridan and Buffalo.
The election boundaries have been redrawn to comply with 2022 legislation, and these changes may have affected your voting precinct, polling place, House and Senate districts, or school district. If you received a blue card in the mail, please check it for changes that have affected you. If you have moved or have questions, don't wait until the August 16th primary election to ask. Call the Sheridan County Election Office today at 674-2515. That's 674-2515, or email elections@SheridanCountyWY.gov.
Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse, brought to you by our friends out there at Eliason Financial. This morning, I am with Wyoming Game and Fish Public Information Specialist, Christina Schmidt. Now, Christina, you and I were talking offline. We've been discussing bears this morning and the prevention, and you were telling me a little bit of a story about how they test that equipment before they sell it to us, the bear-proof stuff. How do you know it's bear-proof?
Oh, so there are websites you can go to look at that say that these have been tested. And like I was telling you, I had written a story a few years ago for our department magazine about how they do testing. And so a lot of companies send their products to the Grizzly and Wolf Discovery Center in West Yellowstone, where they have some captive grizzly bears. And I visited with the man who kind of runs the program. And basically companies, you know, if they have a new cooler, a new design on a cooler, or bear-proof, containers of various sorts, they will send them there. And the gentleman who runs this says, I know all the favorite foods of these bears, and I put all their favorites in it, to really make it enticing. And they really want to work to get in there. And they will take photos and videos and watch, these bears over, a certain amount of time trying to get in. And if they don't, then they can, get labeled, bear resistant is what they call it. Never totally bear proof, sort of like deer proof vegetation, if they're hungry enough, they'll eat it. So we use the word resistant. But then if they do get into it, the companies can look and see, okay, where was the weak spot on this? How were they able to get in here and there? So, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. I think
fascinating.
I'm pretty sure there's videos online you can look at and watch these bears just really, and it gives you a new appreciation for how determined they are to get to these things and how resistant something really needs to be. Like with trash cans, people say, I put the lid on really tight and I put a bungee cord on it or whatever. And it's like, man, when you watch these bears in action and see, they're really working hard to get in, and it has to be really solid to keep them out. It has to be really solid. It's a pretty interesting process that they do. At least for some products, they will test those that way. So.
Oh, well, it appears that I've actually got a caller, Christine. If you want to throw those earphones on for me real quick, we will join our caller in just 2 seconds here. All right, caller, can you hear me all right?
I can.
Okay.
Hi.
Good morning.
Everybody hears everybody. Hey, I got a couple questions for Christina. First on bears. Do we have a lack of hunters in that area, or is that something that we're looking to rectify that issue? Is allowing more hunters in that area? I know Story's really populated with bear.
So
I just wondered if.
Yeah, you might be familiar with how our season runs. We do have a spring bear season and a fall bear season. And
Correct.
We actually have a large carnivore biologist crew that takes into account population models and all of that. And we actually set a quota. And when that quota is reached, the season closes. And Correct. Yep, female mortality.
But do you guys have a record then of who or what our troubled bears are? Are they more the male? Are they the boars or the sows? Or
I haven't looked at that specifically. It seems young bears, I think, they're exploring a little more adventurous looking.
Seeking new land.
So, I guess, so I'm not the biologist, but from what I've picked up, it looks like certainly younger ones may explore more, may have the possibility to have, some more interactions with people. Male and female, just off the top of my head, it seems like sometimes I see males mentioned more than females, but I don't know that that's, a statistically valid anything. Males more so than females.
But just thinking about it right at the moment.
Just thinking off the top of my head, for sure, it seems
that
like
would
seems
make
like younger
sense,
ones.
right?
Yeah, it seems like younger ones are ones that just they're learning, especially when they get kicked off from mom the first year. They're trying to learn how to be a bear. They're they're out exploring, and sometimes that brings them into our path for sure.
And I'm sure they're seeking out new ground that they can call their own.
Correct.
And mom and pop, whoever he was, have kind of controlled this area, so I'm going to head north, or what have you. All right.
Yeah. Did you have a second question?
Yeah. Other than, do they use or think of controlling bears through harvesting them instead of the euthanization process that seems to be more common now? And I know we have trouble bears, and when it's outside of the season, that makes it difficult. I'm just wondering if we could regulate that through, raising the amount of harvest, at least in those certain areas where our troubled areas are.
That's a good question. Certainly, the large carnivore team, I think, takes that into account. We do have season setting, and certainly would encourage, when we have these meetings, for folks to come and visit about that and ask those questions to the folks who actually set those seasons.
Yeah, the biologists attend those, don't they?
Yeah, but, during the season, like you said, there certainly is the possibility if someone is having an issue, they certainly always have the option during an open season to go purchase a license. Absolutely.
Okay. One more question about permits. I had called Cheyenne after I had received a phone call from a person in Wisconsin who received my antelope permit. And when I spoke with Cheyenne, they said that there was a changeover with the system on addresses and applicants. And my antelope permit ended up in a small town in Wisconsin to a gentleman with the exact same name as me, and called me and said they had my antelope permit. So I called Cheyenne and asked, what do we do with this? And they just said, well, ask and see if they'll send it to you, or send it back to the Game and Fish, and they would forward it on to me. Well, I'm still waiting on 2 other permits that I was successful in drawing, and haven't received those yet either. Do you know what they're doing to try to get permits to individuals who were successful and are still waiting? They did say it was a handful of people that it affected, but I think I am in the middle of that handful and waiting for my permits.
Sure. Yeah. That is unusual. So certainly, that would be unusual. So let me tell you this. Why don't you give a call to me at the office? And
in Sheridan?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the office number for anyone who needs it is 672-7418. And certainly give a call. I'll be around today. I'm out of the office tomorrow. I'm around the rest of the day today, all day Friday. Give me a call. You and I can visit. I'll get your name, all that information. I'll make some calls and see try and track down your stuff.
We'll see where these are.
Yeah, that is unusual, and definitely we want to try to get those to you as quick as possible. So give me a call. I will work on it for you. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you much.
All right. Thank you
welcome.
for the call. Now, real quick, Christina, I've run out of time, but I just want you to go over real fast the fire bans that are going to be taking place.
Sure. Yeah. So this is just coming out. Johnson County has implemented a fire ban. I do believe that is effective immediately. Crook County has implemented a fire ban in their county that takes effect at 8 a.m. on July 22nd, so coming up pretty quick. with that being said, we tend to follow suit when a county implements a fire ban. And so for game and fish owned or administered properties, we do have a fire ban now for Johnson and Crook counties following their timelines. So Johnson County in effect now, Crook County starting here in a few days. And so this is going to affect places like Bud Love, Edo Taylor, Sand Creek, Wildlife Habitat Management Area in Crook County. And just looking, we tend to have a fire ban at some point most summers, when it starts to get to that really kind of critical stage where fires are going to be a real hazard. And like most people know, these habitat management areas, these big ones we purchased years and years ago for winter range for big game. And a fire on these would be pretty catastrophic for the animals come winter. So we try to be very, very careful with these properties and make sure that we're protecting that forage. So that's why these fire bans go into effect. So we'll be sending out a press release on that. There will be signs at all of these places so folks are aware that the bans are in place.
And if you're curious, before you leave, whether or not an area is under a fire ban, Google the county website, and that should let you know right away. And if the county's following a fire ban, more than likely, all Wyoming Game and Fish Department administered land will be under that fire ban as well.
Yeah.
All right, Christina, thank you so much for coming in this morning, and thank you for answering all the questions. That's absolutely great.
Thanks for having me.
All right, when we return, we're going to speak with the Wyoming State Historic Site Superintendent, Sherry Shadek. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE. At 103.9 FM. Share it.
At Eliason Financial, money management isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about dreams and opportunities, and more importantly, family. We'll take time to get to know you. Then we'll develop a unique wealth management plan that works hard, just like you. To learn more about who we are and what our wealth management advisors can do for you, visit Eliason Financial online or call 307-672-3010. Securities offered through Royal Alliance Associates, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Form or learn how to process your own meat? Would you like to learn American Sign Language or study different styles of yoga? Sheridan College is offering community interest classes to provide unique learning experiences that will feed your curiosity in a wide variety of subjects such as art, technology, outdoor, and cultural topics. Begin tailoring your education to your hobbies by visiting www.sheridan.edu/community. Using our easy online form to enroll or call an advisor today at 307-675-0500.
Hi, this is Patrick from Harker Mellinger. Our advisory services are designed for entrepreneurs and small business owners so you can focus on your business. Our relationship is customized for what you want and need to ensure your business is as efficient as it should be. We will evaluate your business and provide solutions you will benefit from. We will coach you through each step of the process from start to finish. Contact us today, Harker Mellinger, focusing on where you're going, not where you've been.
Darla and the staff at Best Out West Antiques and Collectibles want you to know distracted driving is one of the biggest causes of auto accidents nationwide. Do your part to keep your kids safe this summer. Keep your eyes on the road and hands on the wheel. Best Out West Antiques and Collectibles. Shopping is so much fun at Best Out West. They have a great selection of antiques and gift ideas for any occasion. Visit Best Out West Antiques and Collectibles Rodeo Week and remember to drive safely.
Shop the Cowboy Cash Western Market at the Ramada Plaza during Rodeo Week. Modeled after Cowboy Christmas at the NFR, Cowboy Cash is a shopping extravaganza. Western wear, hats, boots, jewelry, art, home decor, and more, featuring vendors from all over. Find the perfect outfit. Shop for gifts and home decor. The Cowboy Cash Western Market will be open daily at the Ramada Plaza in Sheridan from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. July 13th through the 16th, the week of Sheridan's WYO Rodeo.
If we don't abide by the Constitution when it is politically inconvenient, then we will not have the Constitution as our shield when we need to defend our First Amendment rights and our Second Amendment rights.
I'm voting for Liz Cheney because she believes in the Constitution, and this is what our country was built on.
And we need somebody like Liz who will fight for democracy, fight for our Constitution.
She's doing what's right. She's standing up for our constitutional rights. I really support and hope that you'll vote with me for Liz Cheney.
I'm Liz Cheney, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Liz Cheney for Wyoming.
Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse, brought to you by our friends out there at Eliason Financial. I'm Floyd Whiting, and for the second part of our show this morning, I am joined by Wyoming State Historic Site Superintendent Sherry Shadek. Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning.
Now, I've decided I call her the Wyoming State Historic Site Superintendent, and I don't tell you where because it's pretty much all of them in our region. You are the site superintendent. Will you inform our listeners on all the different locations that you currently manage?
Sure. So I am at Trail End State Historic Site in Sheridan, and along with that, we manage the care of the LX Bar Ranch State Historic Site because it's an associated property. John Kendrick built our mansion. He also owned this ranch. And while it's not open to the public yet, we still manage it and make sure the site is intact so we can hopefully open it up for the public to visit. Now I also have Fort Phil Kearny State Historic Site, and along with that comes two battlefield sites, the Wagon Box Battle and the Fetterman Battle, or the Battle of 100 in the Hand. We also have Connor Battlefield Campground in Ranchester.
And so many great sites. I didn't know that Fort Phil Kearny or the history of Fort Phil Kearny until I was about 27 years old. And, I was born here, in Wyoming. I was born over in Star Valley, and I just felt like, wow, this huge piece of Western history happened right here. I'm standing in the spot where this occurred. And I suddenly felt this great connection with my state and the history of it. And I was fortunate. I was there with a colonel, and he had me read out all the stuff that happened. And so I really got to know the history. And it's just a great site. Is it a handful to manage all of these sites? I mean, you got to have a busy day.
Yes, of course. There's lots to do everywhere, but thankfully we have a lot of employees who help us. The people who are there at the front desk to greet our visitors and answer all their questions, our maintenance people who keep the areas looking nice, our volunteers who come in for special events. There's a multitude of people who help keep these sites running.
So Fort Phil Kearny in the winter, does it close at all?
Yes, both Trail End and the fort close during the winter months. We just don't get the visitation to support having somebody there all the time. It's very slow. Weather prevents people from getting to these places sometimes. So that's a good chance to refresh our exhibits, do deep cleaning, maintenance projects, things like that.
So people are still working at these
Absolutely.
sites. They're not completely sealed up in lab.
No, we're there year round.
Yeah. Now, the ranch, what goes on out there? I mean, obviously, is it a working ranch or is it just a site that you guys are preparing?
Yes, so it was one of John Kendrick's 10 ranches that he had. It was built at the same time as Trail End, and it's on the wrong side of the Powder River, so the county road doesn't reach it. You have to cross private land to get to it. And so it really hasn't been a working ranch since I think about the 1960s.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so somebody who bought the property, all the ranches were sold in the 80s. Somebody who bought this property donated it to us so we could take care of it. And if we can get people there, get a bridge built across the Powder River, we can get the public there and they can see how a working ranch was in the early 1900s.
And obviously, you've been out there more than a few times.
Yes.
What is like the house like? Is it still pretty historically accurate, or nobody updated it through the years?
No.
Really?
They didn't have running water. They eventually had telephone service, but they irrigated from the river, and then they had a well for their water. The main house, all the buildings are stone. The main house has 5 bedrooms, all with porch accesses. There's a kitchen, a pantry, a big living and dining room area, and a bathroom where there's a drain there. So it looks like they had a tub they could haul the water in, but then drain it out.
Yeah.
There's also a full basement underneath of it.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That would be really cool to walk through there and kind of see how the ranch functioned back in the day.
Yes, absolutely.
And how something like a drain inside was an absolute technical marvel.
Right.
I mean, how cool is that? To be able to look back on that and say, yeah, there's a drain in that house.
Yeah.
You watch yourself. That's we're really coming up in the world. Let's talk about some summer events. Tell me about the summer evening on the lawn.
Yes. So on Wednesday, July 27th from 6 to 8 p.m., we have the museum open for extended hours. It's totally free. This is the 8th year we've done this, and this is our big thank you to the public for supporting us. So you can come, bring a picnic, hang out on the lawn, take a tour of the museum, hear live music. We have some antique cars that are coming up that you can look at. And then we'll have badminton and croquet set up. Those are things, games that people played 100 years ago. And then our friends group will also be serving refreshments.
No lawn darts.
No lawn darts.
In the 80s, man, everyone had a set of lawn darts. I don't know why. A craze swept the nation. But I found a set of lawn darts in just about every lawn that I visited with family. And now, I want to attend one of these one day,
Yes.
because this just sounds so fun to be a part of. Tell me about the murder at the mansion coming up.
Yes. So, Murder at the Mansion is our murder mystery fundraiser, and it is on Friday and Saturday, August 12th and 13th in the evening, and tickets go on sale next Tuesday, July 19th. And everybody gets a part to play. So this year we are headed to the Caribbean, and our theme is it's a resort theme. So a murder is going to happen here, and you've got your rich people who've come to vacation there, your movie stars, the surfers, all the managers of these people with their surfing and movie careers, and then they have the bar owner and the waitresses, and so when you buy a ticket for this event, you're getting a character. You get to pick who you want to play. And you get background information and, ideas for how to dress. We don't provide the costumes. Ticket holders do that themselves. But, everybody gets a part to play, and it's a really fun evening. And we're only selling 25 tickets for each night. Wow. So there's no duplicate characters. Every part is unique.
Now, 25 tickets. We've got, and what is the time period that we're set in? Are we looking at
modern day?
Modern day.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's okay.
It is.
So we're not reaching back into the 40s or the 50s.
We're not.
We're not going noir.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I think 1940s resort wear is really fun.
Right? I think that would be awesome. Just gives you an excuse to put the old suit on.
Right.
Now, how does it all work? We get our part. We can, I don't know, portray this character as much or as little as we want, or you buy the ticket, you know what you're getting into here.
Exactly. You have information on your character and the other people coming, and then when you show up that night, you get more information, like here are the things you know so far, here are the people you need to go talk to, or if anybody asks you this is what you should tell them. And all these parts are woven together so that if you talk to all the right people and the right clues are given out, by the end you should be able to guess who done it. So you have your first act, and then the murder happens, and then after that, the murderer finds out that they're the killer. They don't even know.
They don't even know.
They don't even know. Surprise. And then what you should do for the last half, and then at the end, everybody gets to guess.
Well, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Now, what is included in all of this? I buy a ticket, I head up there. Do we have dining, drinks, anything?
We've got refreshments provided, some desserts, and water and lemonade, but also by donation, you can get beer, wine, and some mocktails that we are going to make. So the mocktails won't have alcohol, but they will be festive, tropical themed drinks.
Drinking out of a coconut.
I wish. I thought about it.
Now, when does this go down?
So this is August 12th and 13th. You have to buy a ticket in advance, and tickets go on sale Tuesday next week, July 19th.
Now, this sounds like a pretty good time, and there's only 50 tickets in total being sold for 2 different shows.
Correct.
So this will prevent overlapping. Now, in the past, does everybody really kind of fit into their roles really well, and everyone played along real?
Yes, and it's so much fun when people get really dramatic. It kind of gives other people permission and encouragement to be dramatic as well, and it just makes everything more fun.
See, and that's the thing. It just, you know what? own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Own the part, you know, and that's why you're there. That's why everybody else is there, and we're all gonna get embarrassed together.
Right.
You know, we're
Nobody's judging.
Nobody's judging anybody. We're here to be embarrassed together.
Yeah.
Now, this sounds like a really, really fun event. Now, I said before, you know, I'm gonna attend one of these, and there's something happening today up at the trail end in the front lawn.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Our educational interpretive ranger is putting on a program today. It actually starts in a few minutes at 10 o'clock. You can catch it again at 2. But she is doing a program about games for kids, for adults, what the Kendricks played, what we can play today. So if you stop by at 10 or 2, you can hear a half-hour presentation about this. But she'll also have the games set up on the front lawn for people to just wander by and play. So we've got a giant game of Sorry set up with humongous pieces. And Parcheesi and checkers and blocks that little kids can build with, so people of all ages can find something to do.
Awesome. Now, and this is free?
Yeah,
We can
totally
just head
free.
up there and have a good time. It sounds like
Absolutely.
something really good to take the kids to.
Yeah.
Head up there and kind of have them, you know, learn some old-timey games. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in old Westerns, wasn't there always a kid running down Main Street with a stick and he's like smacking a hoop or something? Do you remember that?
That was something people played in the 1860s.
Was that the point of the game?
Try and keep you could race with other people, but it's kind of tricky to keep your hoop rolling when you only have a stick to push it.
And that was the game itself.
Yeah.
You just,
Yeah.
I'm going to go roll my hoop.
Yep.
Hey, it was the Old West. There wasn't a whole lot to do out here. Now, there is a servants tour on July 19th. What does this involve?
Yeah, so this is included with your regular museum admission, but we would like you to sign up ahead of time because spots are limited. It's a 45-minute tour that takes you through the servants' day at Trail End. So you start at the back stairs. You only go to the areas where servants would have worked. Our educator is interviewing somebody who was a servant there when she was 14.
Oh, wow.
And that really just adds more. It makes it more personal.
Absolutely.
So just looking at the mansion through a different perspective.
Which I find fascinating. They're the ones that kept it all going.
Yeah.
You know, I can remember taking a couple history classes, and they used to talk about how, you know, the masters very rarely could have kept the plantation or kept the house going because it was the servant who knew everything that was going down in that place. Even what the master was doing. And sometimes it wasn't always good things. Now, Sherry, I want to say one more time, we don't have a lot of time left, but Fort Phil Kearny, it's out there. If you haven't visited this site, folks, head out there. What's going on out there this year?
Yeah, next Monday in 2 weeks, July 25th at 1 and 3, there will be a half-hour program about how to pack a saddle. If you've never had to depend on a horse as your only mode of transportation, maybe you don't realize how much your saddle can do for you or did for people. So someone will be demonstrating on real horses out there the prep work that soldiers and civilians went through when they were traveling.
And that's, you know, I watched my father pack his mules for years, and that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, and Dad was only going up for maybe a week, 2 weeks at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine heading out there to the Old West, and you don't know if or when you were going to come back? So head on out there, folks. Get some education. Check this out. You know, our lives have become a lot easier than they used to be. And it's good to reflect on these kinds of things, that this is how you got your stuff to town. Sherry, I want to thank you so much for coming in today, taking the time, and best of luck in all these programs coming up.
Thank you.
All right, you've been listening to Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM. Sheridan.
At Eliason Financial, money management isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about dreams and opportunities, and more importantly, family. We'll take time to get to know you. Then we'll develop a unique wealth management plan that works hard, just like you. To learn more about who we are and what our wealth management advisors can do for you, visit Eliason Financial online or call 307-672-3010. Securities offered through Royal Alliance Associates, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
sports in the world, and yet riding and roping a bull is entertaining. Brace your backbone and forget your wishbone, though. If you do pull a muscle or break a bone, Sheridan Orthopedics doctors are ready to help with a wide range of services that include treatment of complex sports injuries,